And when I went down the big drop at the end, my glasses flew off into the water and I had to get new ones.
Okay, let's hear Katie's story.
I went through a pretty bad breakup and thought, I got to get back in the game. So I joined Tinder and was kind of talking to this guy, and he was super nice. Asked me to go on a date with him, and we decided to go to the movies. And he kept kind of talking during the movie and whatever. Like, it didn't really bother me. I'd seen the movie before. But then he got really quiet all of a sudden, and I felt like something wet around my feet, and I looked down, and he had peed his pants, but tried to like cover it up, and he wrapped his sweatshirt around his waist, and needless to say, we did not go on a date again.
And now Jamie Lee.
So I went to this audition once, and it was one where we had a specific song that we had to sing. And so it was really funny because while I was waiting in line, it looked like people were still learning the song. And I was looking at them like, you had a month to prepare this. How do you not know the lyrics? And it was a popular song at the time. It was I felt bad for them, but it was also kind of funny to watch people kind of struggle through and try to remember the words as they were auditioning. And that was such a strange experience. I was one of the only people who like actually took the time to learn the words to the song.
Okay, one of those stories is real. The other three are fake. So let's start with April. April, which one do you think was telling the truth?
This is rough. They all seem to have an element of truth to them. I would say that the most true one, I'm going to vote for Jamie Lee.
Jamie Lee. Okay, Kyle, who do you think?
I'm going to go with a little bit of a dark horse here. I'm going to go with Katie's story. And I feel like men who are uncomfortable tend to pee in movie theaters.
Mm-hmm. That man was you, by the way, Kyle. Zeke, who's telling the real story?
Well, Disney World story is very, very truthful, but actually I'm going to go with Deborah.
Deborah. Jared, who are you going to go with?
I am also going to go with Deborah.
Will the real storyteller raise her hand? I think the real storyteller is frozen. So it was Deborah. I think she's frozen. So we'll never know who the real story. It was Deborah. Okay, good job. All right, let's switch it around now. So telling the stories this time will be Jared, April, Kyle, and Zeke. The other four of you go ahead and do this when you're mute so you can't hear us. Put your hands up, and you can't hear me anymore, and I'll call you back. Okay, we got two fingers. I'm waiting for Carly. And okay, beautiful. Okay, the real storyteller is April. Okay, come on back. Okay, so we got four stories. One of them is going to be real. Let's start out this time with Kyle.
All right, I'm going to tell everyone the story of, this is really actually sad. The day I lost my cat, Bruce. I was up in the mountains, and we were in a condo, and all of a sudden, like, we heard the fire alarm go off. And like on our floor, someone like tried to be an idiot and tried to like burn shit on like the oven. He's like burned half the condo down. And I was trying for like 15 minutes. I was stuck in my condo trying to get my cat out. And if you've ever had a cat, like they never listened to you, and he went under the couch and under the bed, and it was like possible. He was hissing, and so I was like, all right, dude, like, this is your loss. And I left him there, and I never saw him again.
Wow. Sad little story. Let's go now with Zeke.
So when I was younger, I used to like to lift weights as a kid. Not so much anymore as an adult. But thing is, when I was lifting, I fell and I cracked all of my front teeth. They actually fell out, and did it on a weight, and these are fake, and yeah.
Okay, let's hear it from April.
Well, once on a vacation I was with my boyfriend, who's now my husband, and we went hiking on the island of Kauai. And we it was a very, very rough hike. And when at one point we had to literally like pull on a rope and cross this estuary, like this water part, to get to this part of the land where the actual beach was. So we get to the part, and there's a big commotion, and there's people there. And we looked down, and there was a girl that we had seen on another island in a B&B. And she was lying on the ground. And as soon as we said, like, what are you doing here, Susan? And everybody was like, you know her? And then they all left. And she had come there and had fallen. And a fireman somebody that was on the trail with her was like a fireman, and he carried her and they put her down. So we were waiting with her. We said, well, we'll stay with her, waiting with her to get rescued. And we put SOS on the sand. And finally, a helicopter really came. And, I was like watching the guys get out of the helicopter, and they had this stretcher. And I was like, boy, that's a lot of people that got out of that helicopter, And so we picked up all our stuff, and we were going to get in the helicopter with her because we were with the girl. And so they were like, wait, where are you going? And we were like, well, we are with her, and they're like, oh, you can't fit in this helicopter. And by now it was so late that we weren't going to get back. It was going to be dark. So we were like, how are we going to get back? And so they gave us these lights that we could put on the top of our heads. And they're like, you got like 45 minutes of daylight. And it was like an hour and a half hike. It was not fun.
Okay. Thank you very much, April. And our final story is Jared.
All right, back in high school, me and my buddy Travis were kind of like, hooligans and delinquents, and we always got into trouble. And it was after school, and so we're both chilling by the vending machines, and there's no one around. I was doing like an after-school theater rehearsal. It's literally just everyone else in the auditorium, and it's just me and my buddy Travis by the vending machines. And Travis had the great idea of being like, hey, Jared, why don't you go and reach into the vending machine and grab us one of those strawberry Pop-Tarts? And, I was a kid, and I was like, I want to be cool. So I was like, okay. So I go in there, and I try and, wedge my body, up into the vending machine to try and reach it. And you guys see me. I'm a big guy, okay? I get stuck in the vending machine, and I'm just trying to force my way out. My buddy Travis freaks out and he straight up just runs away and just leaves me to just try to figure this out. Thank God he eventually went to my director, and my director, he was pissed, but he helped get me out, and it was just a crazy story.
Okay, well, one of those is a real story. So Jamie Lee, who's telling the truth?
I'm gonna say April.
Okay, Katie?
Okay, I'm going to say, I think it's Zeke, because I could actually see him doing that.
Okay. Katie?
I'm going to agree with Deborah. I think it's Zeke. I could definitely see him doing something like that.
Carly?
Honestly, I I think they all sound pretty real. I think I want to say Jared's just because I want it to be true. I think that's so funny.
Okay. Will the real storyteller raise her hand?